Hello, and welcome, and let's have an unboxing. Let's see what we have here. I bought two of them because I wanna show this to as many people as I can, and also like borrow if people wanna show these to others and whatever, because this is so cool. So this is also a magical video, this magical movie, because this has the ability to threaten women on campus. Kinda automatically, you just leave it on the table and it will do all the abuse for you. It's perfect for that kind of physical threatening if you are feeling really lazy. So let's just read what's the newest controversy. You might know that the Red Bull movie has been banned in many cinemas and has a lot of controversy around it. But let's see what's the newest article that I think came out today or yesterday. Yesterday. And also that I have to say this, that I feel for Cassie J, because it must be horrible to have to defend publicly against all these really odd accusations that have no base and are even libelous accusations actually. But even you have to understand even with that this is great publicity for the movie. Come on, who doesn't want to see a movie that can physically threaten women? So let's just jump right in. New Puritanism at work in refusals to show film Red Pill. The liberal democratic model doesn't need a tune-up, it needs a full body overhaul. Increasingly the university campus, the very place where young minds should be challenged and provoked, where preconceptions should be tested and the notion of intellectual comfort zone should be an anathema, is becoming symbol of the dismal future of liberal traditions. Warning signs from the US are bad enough. Safe rooms allow young students to escape confronting ideas in the lecture room. Inside lecture halls, students demand trigger alerts for literature that has been taught without warnings for hundreds of years. Students revel in their no platforming to stop even Germaine Greer talking on campus because some of her views don't comply with the campus orthodoxy. Other speakers are drowned out by drums and saucepans and banging sticks to stop them from being heard in front of cameras, with no shame over the illiberal antics. Complaints about cultural appropriation are aimed at authors such as Lionel Shrill, a fiction writer, on the grounds a white woman should stick to her own white story. Where would this leave Shakespeare? On it goes. The push in the direction to shame those who express different views and to shut down debate we once took for granted in a liberal democracy. The same virus is closing down Australian minds. Last week, the University of Sydney Union Board withdrew funding to show a documentary called The Red Pill. Young filmmaker Cassie J was researching rape culture when she came upon website for men's rights activists, the feminists who had previously reported on issues such as single motherhood, LGBTI rights and marriage equality, had her own preconceptions challenged. The result is a thought-provoking exploration of issues that confront men. From unequal custody outcomes to male suicide rates, from male deaths in a workplace to inequalities in the criminal justice system, from dismal health statistics affecting men and more. The film takes a title from the Red Pill reference in The Matrix, where the protagonist is given a choice between taking the red pill that opens the mind to exploration or the blue pill where the story ends. Clearly the USUE board chose the blue pill, and why wouldn't it? It seems Dandy Cinemas may have swallowed a blue pill too, Dandy Cinemas, apparently telling organizers last week they were cancelling screenings of the documentary in Sydney's Newtown Theatre. Dandy have gone curiously quiet, perhaps hoping it will fly under the radar. The most compelling parts of the Red Pill are Jay's video diaries, where the filmmaker trashes through the strictures of her own feminist training. Here on film is the opening of a young feminist's mind, precisely what most frightens the feminist ideologues and the cultural Marxists. Having lost control of the economic debates, the left's shift into a cultural sphere has been underway for more than 4 decades. Daily assaults on basic freedoms, such as the freedom to speak, attest to the domination of this sphere. Parroting the dogma of feminist academics who admit they haven't seen the Red Pill, the USO board justified its decision by arguing the film promotes sexual violence. No one who has seen the film would make such ridiculous, dishonest claim. The film does no such thing. It explores issues affecting men. Today's cultural dietitians seek to control debates by slapping nasty label on those with different views, repeating it over and over again, regardless of whether it fits. The aim of using vile labels is to strip opponents' credibility and, even better, censor their views. Former Prime Minister Julia Gillard labeled her opponent Tony Abbott a misogynist when her own power was under threat, providing zero evidence of such an evil claim. To coin a phrase from Helen Garner's nuanced look at sex and power in The First Stone, Gillard had a crit labeled misogyny, and she resolved to apply it to the broadest possible field of male behavior. The late Bill Leak was labeled a racist by critics to delegitimize and shut down his cartoons about the dysfunction in some indigenous families. Enlightenment thinker and former Muslim Ayaan Hirsi Ali was a peddler for white supremacy, for challenging Sharia law and demanding reformation of Islam for the sake of Muslims. By all means, review Jay's documentary, critique, pan it, and if that's your view after seeing it. But panning it is another chapter in the left's cultural strangulation of liberal values. This is a return to another era when puritanical hysteria banned D.H. Lawrence's Lady Chatterley's Lover. Back then, the objection was the words deemed too rude to publish. The modern Puritans treat different views and rude enough to censor. Opposing views have become the newest taboo. Sydney University screened the Hunting Ground documentary about sexual assault on women on American campuses, even though 19 Harvard professors challenge some of its claims, and the same university refuses to finance the airing of a documentary raising serious issues afflicting men. The same pusillanimity was to show last year when the Palace Kino Cinema in Melbourne banned the Red Pill, making Australia the first country in the world where it was banned. The move led Ultimate Function Center manager and businessman Nick Gorgiaras to show the film. Online protest attacked his business, a death threat was made against him, yet Gorgiaras aired the film, pointing out that those trying to shut down the film were proving the very point the director is trying to make. I'm ashamed to say that before seeing the Red Pill, I wondered whether the documentary was really one for me. But as the mother of a teenage boy on a cusp of manhood, I should have been more curious. This is a brilliant documentary that touches on so many issues that may one day confront our own sons. Too many of us think we know enough, or at least we are comfortable with what we already know about certain issues. Worse, the EU decision shows stubborn and ideological blindness to information that challenges preconceived positions. The consequences of the closing of young minds won't be healthy. given that the generation will shape society in a few short years, which is why fighting against every episode of censorship is a worthy battle. The Red Bill, with the help of an organization called Fun Force, will be screening across Australia if enough people sign up on its website to see it. And why shouldn't we be curious to learn about Jay's journey to a more open mind? Why shouldn't we explore the pressures of boys and men, consider their vulnerabilities, and ask how they are faring in the world where women's issues attract most of the attention? What on earth are we afraid of? So I think this was a brilliant piece, and I have to really touch on some things here. So, there was this too many of us think that we know enough, or at least that we are comfortable what we already know about certain issues. I think this is actually like a source of a lot of evil in the world, because it's basically the Hitler's idea that yes, I know enough. I know enough about the world, so I'm certain that I can just kill those people because they don't fit into my worldview and I deem them unnecessary information or whatever. So it's the very archetypical. If you look at movies, for example, it's the Satan character who just says that we demand absolute ideological purity and we'll throw everything out that is anyway different because we have the full and complete picture of the world and we are not willing to expand or change our views because we are 100% right and you are the problem if you try to convince us otherwise, because we know better, we know everything. I think that you should watch a lot of documentaries that you don't approve of and that you think are bogus or whatever, because maybe they are, or maybe you are wrong, but you should be curious about things and be ready to learn. That is what I want to tell to all the students who might be watching this. And one more thing is that I think that, like she said here, that every fight against censorship is important, because like it or not, these same people who are actually advocating that this movie has the capacity to physically threaten women in a couple of years will be the head of our states and in major government positions and in major positions in education or whatever. They are in the university and they will rule the world. So this has to be challenged now, because when they start writing it into the law, then it will be a big problem. They have clearly shown that they can do with the transcendent. They are already maximum knowledge of the world and they are 100% correct, and whatever differs from that varied opinions or people, then we can do without, basically. We can do without the transcendent, and that is possibly the most dangerous idea of all time in my mind. But I mean, I'm gonna watch this movie now, and I might do a review later. But let's just, this newest controversy here, or this one controversy is that this Red Pill film, because it has capacity to physically threaten women, so never mind masculinity so fragile, femininity so fragile that you just leave this close enough and they will just feel threatened. And it's like garlic to vampires. They will go and probably explode or something. But let's see here that kind of what their idea here is, that USU's decision means that the student groups are forbidden from screening the documentary on campus. According to the union's decision was made following a number of complaints, probably one or two or whatever, but it's number of complaints if it's the feminists doing it, and it's nothing if the others are doing it. We saw it in the before when this was banned in Australia. like people write a petition for some hundreds names or whatever, and it got banned in the cinema. But when you had a counter petition that had way more names that said that it should be actually shown, and that the people who were attacking it haven't even seen it and were saying just whatever, then no one cared. But anyway, so because they wanna censor it, just a couple of complaints probably is enough, because it goes according to their agenda. So the point where they are citing this is that the club funds may not be used for any activities that discriminate or harass on the basis of sex, race, age, marital status, sexuality, religion, or disability, or defame, coerce, intimidate, or physically threaten an individual or group. So that means, if we are taking this to the literal conclusion that they did, that you cannot show any documentary about World War II because there's Hitler that threatens religion and race. He's actually like advocating killing people. So we can't show any history to any students because they will get triggered and they will physically feel threatened or something. And yeah, so actually some of these claims are kind of libelous. Like, I would assume that there's a strong chance that these people who are going against this movie haven't even seen it. You can a bit read it into between the lines here, and also some have even in the petition and etc. said that they haven't seen it, but that they are convinced that this is the masterpiece of evil. But I just wanna end this with I wanna read what Cassie J wanted to say about this threatening women physically part, because the one awful thing also what this university in Sydney did is that they didn't let Cassie J to respond to these accusations. They didn't publish this information that what she has to say about it, which would be only fair. They could even, in my mind, whatever, be ideologues and continue boycotting the film, but if they are saying that you are this evil person and this is this evil movie, then at least they should ask what Cassie J has to say and listen to that also, even if they after that decide that this is like it is, that they don't want to show it, then whatever. But it's very bad that they don't even let people, they attack people, but they don't let them defend each other, because they can do without the transcendent, like I said. So the University of Sydney has yet to allow for my comment to show on their statement. Actually, we can see here that they haven't allowed, I think, any comments. Yes, there's no comments here, so no comments will show. So yeah, you can say something interesting, but I bet they won't show it. I am shocked and saddened to see the University of Sydney write such libelous things about me and my film, The Red Bill. The University of Sydney's website states that they are committed to gender equity and social inclusion. How does disallowing a previously approved screening for an award-winning film that advocates gender equality by adding men's issues to the discussion line up with their values? Shouldn't any university's commitment to higher education include expanding minds of their students by introducing diverse perspectives and encouraging critical thinking and discourse? I want to add here, before I forget, this interesting point that I think some or a lot of this comes from that feminists are, the root of the thing is that feminists are really jealous of men. They are really jealous of so many CEOs being men and men doing so well in politics or whatever. But what they don't understand is that the intelligence distribution, the IQ distribution is different between men and women. So women have a lot more average intelligence, a lot more in the middle, when men have both the extremes. So men have Einsteins and Newtons and Mozarts, but they also have a lot more problems with alcohol abuse and problems with like mental health problems, etc. So it's both a blessing and a curse, but women just being basically average, they can't deal with this at all. They wanna be on the top 1%, even if they have no skills to go there. Like you can see it in the universities. There's 2/3 of the students in American universities are women, but they are not taking the hard sciences. They are all interested in the humanitarian school subjects because they are easier. They are not that hard and not require so much logical thinking, etc., and mathematics, etc., that are hard subjects. So, let's continue. The YouTube board member that wrote this documentary is decidedly anti-feminist and anti-woman, clearly has never seen the film. Otherwise, they would have known that the film's 3 producers are all female, it's directed and edited by a female filmmaker, and the majority of the body of work consists of documentaries advocating for and shedding light on women's issues. If you ask someone who deeply cares about gender equality to look into men's issues, that person is going to realize that men have issues that deserve to be addressed, and that it is, and what is happened when I was making the Red Pill. I've been an advocate for gender equality for as long as I can remember, and when I decided to look into the men's rights movement, I realized that gender equality goes beyond feminism. Gender equality requires at the bigger picture, which includes men's experiences. I hope whoever wrote and approved this statement makes the effort to watch the Red Pill in its entirety and posts a follow-up assessment correcting the defamatory lies written about my work. And I'm commenting here that whoa. So, by the way, because this movie has to do with Voice for Men, I have to just, I'm so proud of this, I have to just promote something here. There is this Voice for Men Finland, and you should all go look at this, and you can see that there is actually 2 articles written by yours truly. So I'm very proud of these articles here, and I will try to write more there when I have the time. But yeah, so last thing I wanna say is just that Hollywood is pushing for 4 female directors. We are gonna see Ocean's 11 soon remake that has like the Ghostbusters remake. It has only women, and they're actually it's a funny story. They are hiring a psychiatrist there in the set because the women are fighting so much so that they can get the film bloody done. But the thing is this, that they are promoting women as directors, and they are promoting diversity and all this kind of jazz. But when you have the most important diversity of opinion, and you have a brave women director who goes against the narrative, who goes against the politically correct truth, then haram. That is very, very, very bad. That is very, very misogynistic.